The gunshot didn't echo. It sank into the velvet walls of the Manhattan penthouse like the room itself understood silence better than most men. Dominic Vale lowered the gun slowly. Not because he was shaken, but because haste had consequences. It always had. The body at his feet was already cooling. A man who had eaten at his table just 3 hours ago. A man who had laughed at his jokes. A man who had memorized the location of his daughter's bedroom. Dominic exhaled through his nose. He set the weapon down on the mahogany desk with deliberate care. That was when the tray rattled. Dominic turned. A young man stood frozen in the doorway. His fingers clenched around polished silver. His eyes wide with the realization that there were moments in life that split time into before and after. This was one of them. "Close the door," Dominic said quietly. The waiter obeyed. People always did. Once they understood what they were standing in. Dominic didn't look at the body again. He already knew what it represented. He had learned early that betrayal never announced itself loudly. It came with smiles. With reassurances. With men who said "trust me" and meant something else entirely. His father had trusted once. That was all it took. One bullet in a parking garage in Brooklyn. 23 years ago. Dominic had been 16. He remembered the blood on concrete. The way his father's hand had gone slack in his. The detective who told him nobody saw anything. Nobody ever did. "Do you know who that is?" Dominic asked the waiter. The young man swallowed hard. "No, sir. That was my lawyer." The word hung heavier than the corpse. The waiter's eyes moved from the body to Dominic. Back again. His mind clearly trying to process what his lawyer meant. What that changed. "Your lawyer," he repeated. "Yes." Dominic watched the realization form. Not horror exactly. Calculation. The waiter was thinking now. Putting pieces together. Most people assumed violence meant chaos. Dominic knew better. Violence was cleanup. "My daughter is 6, Dominic added. The waiter's head snapped up. His expression shifted completely. "You have a daughter?" Dominic didn't answer immediately. He remembered the first time he'd held her. How impossibly small she'd been. How fragile. How instantly the world had reorganized itself around her survival. Everything he'd built. Everything he'd destroyed. It all became secondary the moment she took her first breath. "She was never supposed to be known," he said finally. The waiter looked at the body again. Then back at Dominic. His voice trembled. Not with judgment. But something closer to understanding. "You look tired." The room went still. That was the wrong thing to say. Men had begged in this room. Threatened. Bargained. Pleaded for their lives with promises they'd never keep. No one had ever acknowledged the cost. Dominic stepped forward once. Then stopped. Because the young man hadn't flinched. He hadn't assumed pleasure. Or cruelty. Or the satisfaction people always expected from men like Dominic. He had seen something Dominic himself rarely allowed to surface. Exhaustion. "You think I'm a monster," Dominic said. The waiter hesitated. His mouth opened. Closed. Then he spoke carefully. "I think monsters don't regret things." Silence pressed in from every direction. Outside, New York City hummed with late-night traffic. Sirens wailed somewhere distant. Life continued like it always did. Inside this room, everything had changed. Dominic turned away first. "You can go," he said. The young man didn't move. "My name's Noah," he said quietly. "In case, that matters." It did. Not because Dominic needed loyalty. He could buy that anywhere. But because for the first time in years, someone hadn't confused restraint with weakness. Someone had looked at him and seen what he actually was. A father. Who would kill anyone who threatened his child. "You start tomorrow," Dominic said. Noah blinked. "Sir." "Internal oversight," Dominic replied. "I need someone who notices what others ignore." He paused. "Including me." Noah stood there holding the silver tray. His white shirt was wrinkled from the evening shift. He smelled faintly of kitchen grease and expensive wine. He was maybe 24. 25 at most. He had no idea what he was agreeing to. "I don't understand," Noah said. Dominic walked to the window. Looked out at Manhattan spreading below them like a galaxy of bad decisions. "That man on my floor," he said. "James Cortland. Harvard Law. Partner at Morrison & Chase. He's represented me for 7 years. Noah waited. 3 days ago, my security found something," Dominic continued. "A photograph. In his office safe." "A photograph of what?" "My daughter. Coming out of her school in Connecticut." Noah's grip tightened on the tray. "There was more," Dominic said. "Her class schedule. Written in his handwriting. The route her driver takes every morning. Times. Locations. Everything you'd need if you wanted to." He didn't finish. He didn't need to. Why would he do that? Noah asked. Dominic turned from the window. Money. Always money. Someone offered him $2 million for access to her. Someone who knew I'd built my entire life around keeping her hidden. Who? I don't know yet. That was the problem. That was why James Cortland had died quickly instead of slowly. Dominic needed to understand who was coming. How many? What they wanted beyond hurting him in the worst possible way. You want me to find out, Noah said. No. Dominic walked back toward him. I have people for that. I want you to watch everyone around me. Every lawyer. Every accountant. Every person who thinks they're invisible because they're not holding a gun. Why me? Because you noticed I was tired, Dominic said. That means you see people. Really see them. Most people in my world only see what I want them to see. Noah looked down at the body. I'm a waiter. You were a waiter. Now you work for me. I didn't say yes. Dominic almost smiled. You're still here. Noah set the tray down on a side table. His hands were steadier now. The initial shock wearing off. Being replaced by something else. Curiosity maybe. Or survival instinct. What if I say no? Noah asked. Then you leave. You forget what you saw. You go back to your life. And you trust me to do that? No, Dominic said honestly. But I don't kill people for being in the wrong place. Only for being the wrong person. Noah studied him. Really studied him. Like he was trying to understand how someone became this. How you built an empire on blood and still tucked a 6-year-old into bed at night. What's her name? Noah asked. Dominic's jaw tightened. That's not your business. If I'm protecting her, I should know her name. You're not protecting her. You're protecting me from the people I trust. Same thing. Dominic stared at him. This kid who should have been terrified. Who should have run. Who instead stood in a room with a corpse and asked questions like he had any leverage at all. Lily, Dominic said finally. Her name is Lily. Noah nodded slowly. Okay. Okay what? Okay, I'll do it. Dominic hadn't expected that. He'd expected negotiation. Questions about salary. Benefits. Protection. Just like that, he asked. Noah glanced at the body one more time. My sister's 7. If someone had a photograph of her school schedule, I'd do worse than you just did. Understanding passed between them. The kind that didn't need words. There's something else, Noah said. What? The way you're standing. You keep looking at the door. Like you're expecting someone. Dominic went very still. No one knows about this yet. Then why do you look worried? Because Dominic Vale hadn't survived 23 years by ignoring instinct. And his instinct was screaming that James Cortland wasn't working alone. That someone else in his inner circle had already sold him out. The question was who? His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Dominic looked at Noah. Close the curtains. Why? Because whoever's calling knows I just killed my lawyer. And they want me to know they're watching. Dominic answered on the 4th ring. Hello, Dominic. The voice was distorted. Run through some kind of modifier that made it sound like gravel scraping glass. Who is this? Dominic asked. Someone who knows what James Cortland told you before he died. Dominic's hand tightened on the phone. He hadn't asked James anything. He'd walked into his office. Seen the files spread across the desk. The photographs. The notes about Lily. And he'd put 2 bullets in James's chest before the man could speak. He didn't tell me anything, Dominic said. Exactly. The voice almost sounded amused. You killed him too fast. That's always been your problem, Dominic. You act on emotion. You always have. Noah was watching him carefully now. Reading the tension in his shoulders. What do you want? Dominic asked. I want you to understand something. James wasn't the only one. He was just the first one you found. The room temperature seemed to drop. How many? Dominic asked. Does it matter? 3. 5. 10. Everyone has a price, Dominic. You taught me that. I taught you. Silence. Then, you don't recognize my voice. That's perfect. That's exactly what I hoped. Dominic walked to his desk. Opened the bottom drawer. There was a second phone there. Encrypted. Connected to a trace system that would pinpoint the caller's location within 90 seconds. He pulled it out. Started the trace. You're trying to track this call, the voice said. Don't bother. I'm using a relay system through 17 countries. By the time you trace it, I'll be gone. Then why call at all? To give you a choice. Dominic waited. You have 48 hours, the voice continued. Bring Lily to the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Pier 7. Come alone. Leave her there. Walk away. And if I don't? Then everyone you trust dies. One by one. And you'll never know who's loyal and who's just waiting for the right moment to put a bullet in your spine. Noah took a step closer. Dominic held up a hand. Stop. Why Lily? Dominic asked. Why not just kill me? Because killing you is mercy. And you don't deserve mercy. You deserve to know what it feels like to lose everything. The line went dead. Dominic set the phone down slowly. The trace had completed. 17 locations. All of them burner phones. All of them dead ends. Whoever this was, they'd planned this perfectly. What did they say? Noah asked. Dominic looked at him. This kid who'd been serving wine 30 minutes ago. Who was now standing in the middle of something that could get him killed. They want me to give them my daughter, Dominic said. In 48 hours. What are you going to do? Find them first. And if you can't? Dominic walked back to the window. Looked out at the city he'd built his empire in. The city that had taken his father. That had tried to take everything from him. Then I burn everything down until someone tells me who they are, he said. Noah joined him at the window. You meant what you said. About people having a price. Yes. What's yours? Dominic thought about Lily. About the way she laughed when he read her stories at night. About how she called him daddy in a voice that made him forget what he was. I don't have one, he said. Not anymore. His phone buzzed again. Different number. This one he recognized. Marcus Chen. Head of security. The only man Dominic had trusted since his father died. He answered. We have a problem, Marcus said. Another one? James Cortland's phone records just came through. He made 47 calls in the last week. 23 of them were to numbers we can't trace. And the others? Marcus hesitated. One of them was to your sister. The world stopped. Dominic hadn't spoken to his sister in 6 years. Not since she'd married a federal prosecutor and made it clear she wanted nothing to do with the family business. When? Dominic asked. Yesterday. 2 hours before you killed him. Noah was watching him again. Seeing the calculation happening behind Dominic's eyes. Find her, Dominic said. Now. Already done. She's in Boston. But Dominic. What? She's not alone. There's someone with her. Someone we can't identify. Dominic closed his eyes. His sister. His lawyer. God knew who else. Everyone he trusted was compromised. And whoever wanted Lily knew exactly how to tear his world apart. Get the car, Dominic said to Noah. Where are we going? Boston. I need to know if my sister sold me out. Noah grabbed his jacket. And if she did? Dominic picked up the gun from his desk. Checked the magazine. Slid it into his shoulder holster. Then she'll tell me who's coming for my daughter before I decide what happens next. They left James Cortland's body cooling on the floor. The cleanup crew would be there in 20 minutes. By morning, it would be like he'd never existed. That was how Dominic's world worked. People disappeared. Problems got solved. And the monster everyone feared did whatever it took to protect the one person who made him human. The question was, how many people would die before he found out who was hunting his daughter? And would 48 hours be enough? The drive to Boston took 4 hours. Dominic didn't speak for the first 2. Noah sat in the passenger seat watching the highway blur past. Watching Dominic's knuckles go white on the steering wheel every time his phone buzzed. Marcus had sent updates every 30 minutes. Subject still at location. No movement. Unidentified male still present. Tell me about your sister, Noah said finally. Dominic's jaw tightened. There's nothing to tell. You haven't spoken in 6 years. That's something. She made her choice. Noah waited. Dominic had learned that silence could be a weapon. But Noah used it differently. Like he was giving you space to decide who you wanted to be. Her name is Elena, Dominic said eventually. She's 3 years younger than me. Smart. Too smart to stay in the family. But she did stay. For a while. Until our father died. Then she saw what I became and decided she wanted out. What did you become? Dominic glanced at him. You saw what I am 2 hours ago. I saw a father protecting his daughter. That's not what Elena saw. She saw someone who solved problems with bullets. Someone who built an empire on fear. Someone who became exactly what our father never wanted. The highway stretched ahead of them. Boston skyline appearing in the distance like broken teeth against the night sky. Did she know about Lily? Noah asked. No. Nobody did. Lily's mother died in childbirth. Natural causes. But I made sure there was no paper trail. No birth certificate under my name. Nothing that could connect her to me. Except your lawyer found her. Yes. How? That was the question that had been eating at Dominic for 3 days. How had James found what didn't exist? Who had helped him? I don't know, Dominic admitted. But if Elena talked to James 2 hours before I killed him, she knows something. They pulled up outside a brownstone in Beacon Hill. Expensive neighborhood. Old money. The kind of place where federal prosecutors could afford to live if they married into the right family. Marcus was waiting outside. Tall. Chinese American. Face like carved stone. He'd worked for Dominic's father first. Had taken a bullet for Dominic when he was 19. If anyone in this world was loyal, it was Marcus. Second floor, Marcus said. She's alone now. The mail left 20 minutes ago through the back entrance. You followed him? Tried. Lost him in the subway. Professional. Dominic nodded. Professional meant trained. Meant this wasn't just about money. Stay here, he told Noah. No. Dominic turned. This isn't negotiable. You hired me to watch everyone. Including you. I'm coming. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Who's this? Someone who noticed things, Dominic said. Noah, this is Marcus. Marcus, don't shoot him. They went inside. The building was quiet. Expensive carpet muffling their footsteps. Dominic's hand rested on the gun under his jacket. He knocked on Elena's door. No answer. He knocked again. Elena. It's me. The door opened. His sister stood there looking exactly like their mother had. Dark hair. Green eyes. The kind of beauty that made people trust you before they should. Dominic, she said quietly. I was wondering when you'd come. Can I come in? She hesitated. Then stepped aside. The apartment was tastefully decorated. Books everywhere. Photographs of her and her husband. A life that had nothing to do with what Dominic represented. Where's Thomas? Dominic asked. Her husband. Conference in D.C. Back tomorrow. Convenient. Elena closed the door. Locked it. Say what you came to say. James Cortland called you yesterday. She went very still. How do you know that? James is dead. And before he died, I found out he was selling information about my daughter. Elena's face went pale. You have a daughter? Don't pretend you didn't know. I didn't. Dominic, I swear, I had no idea you had a child. Noah was watching her carefully. Reading her body language. Her micro-expressions. Then why did James call you? Dominic asked. Elena walked to the window. Stared out at the Boston streets below. He wanted to know if I'd testify against you. The room went cold. Testify about what? Everything. The money laundering. The offshore accounts. The people who've disappeared over the years. He said the federal prosecutors were building a case. That they needed family testimony to make it stick. And what did you tell him? Elena turned. Tears in her eyes. I told him no. I told him that no matter what you'd become, you were still my brother. That I wouldn't be the one who destroyed you. Dominic studied her face. Looking for the lie. The betrayal. He saw only exhaustion. Who was here with you? He asked. I don't know what you're talking about. Elena. She closed her eyes. His name is David. He's FBI. He came to warn me. Warn you about what? That if I didn't cooperate with their investigation, they'd look into Thomas. They'd find things that would end his career. Maybe put him in prison. Noah stepped forward. What kind of things? Elena looked at him for the first time. Who are you? Someone who's trying to understand who's threatening a 6-year-old girl, Noah said. Elena's breath caught. 6 years old. Her name is Lily, Dominic said. And someone wants to take her from me. Someone who knows things only people close to me would know. Someone who's willing to kill everyone I trust to get to her. It's not me. Dominic, I swear, it's not me. Then who's David really working for? Elena shook her head. I don't understand. The FBI doesn't send agents to threaten prosecutors' wives. They send lawyers. Subpoenas. Official channels. They don't send someone who disappears into the subway like he's running from something. Understanding dawned on Elena's face. You think he was lying? I think someone wanted you scared enough to call me. To bring me here. To waste time while they move against Lily. His phone buzzed. Marcus. Outside. Dominic answered. We have a problem, Marcus said. 3 SUVs just pulled up. Armed men. They're coming inside. Dominic looked at Elena. Where's your back exit? Fire escape. Kitchen window. Go. Now. They ran. The kitchen window led to a rusted fire escape that groaned under their weight. Dominic went first. Gun drawn. Noah and Elena behind him. Below, the alley was empty. Marcus's car idling at the far end. They were halfway down when the shooting started. Bullets punched through brick above Dominic's head. Chunks of mortar exploding into dust. Move, he shouted. They dropped the last 10 feet. Hit the ground running. Marcus was already behind the wheel. Engine roaring. Passenger door open. Dominic shoved Elena inside. Noah dove in after her. Dominic was reaching for the door when he saw him. David. Standing at the alley entrance. Gun raised. Face calm. Not FBI. Not even close. Get down. Dominic fired twice. David moved like smoke. Bullets sparked off the wall behind where he'd been standing. Dominic threw himself into the car. Marcus punched the accelerator. They rocketed out of the alley. Tires screaming. More gunfire chasing them into the Boston night. Who were they? Elena gasped. People who wanted you dead, Dominic said. Or wanted me to think you were the threat so I'd waste time protecting you. Noah was looking back through the rear window. 3 vehicles following. No. 4. Marcus took a hard left. Then a right. Weaving through narrow streets with the kind of precision that came from doing this before. We can't outrun them forever, he said. Dominic's mind raced. 4 vehicles. Maybe 12 men. Armed. Professional. This wasn't a hit. This was a message. We can get to anyone. Anywhere. Anytime. His phone rang. That same distorted voice. Dominic answered on speaker. Did you enjoy Boston? The voice asked. Who are you? Someone who's been watching you for a very long time. Someone who knows that right now, you're in a black sedan with your sister, your new employee, and Marcus Chen. Someone who knows that in approximately 90 seconds, you're going to reach an intersection where you have 3 choices. Left takes you to the highway. Right takes you deeper into the city. Straight ahead takes you to the harbor. Marcus's hands tightened on the wheel. Here's what's interesting, the voice continued. Each direction has men waiting. Each direction ends with someone dying. The question is who you're willing to sacrifice to buy yourself time. I'm not playing your game, Dominic said. You already are. You've been playing since the moment you pulled that trigger in your penthouse. Since the moment you thought you could protect your daughter by hiding her from the world. The intersection was coming up. Fast. 48 hours, Dominic. Brooklyn Navy Yard. Pier 7. Bring Lily. Or everyone dies. The line went dead. Marcus slowed the car. Which way? Dominic looked at Elena. At Noah. At the city spreading around them like a maze designed to trap him. Straight, he said. Harbor. That's what they want, Marcus said. I know. But if they wanted us dead, we'd already be dead. They want me afraid. They want me making mistakes. They drove straight. The harbor opened before them. Dark water. Empty piers. Warehouses hulking in the darkness. No ambush. No gunfire. Just silence. Marcus stopped the car. I don't like this. Neither did Dominic. Noah was the first to see it. There, he pointed. Pier 12. A figure stood silhouetted against the water. Small. Child-sized. Dominic's blood turned to ice. No, he whispered. He was out of the car before Marcus could stop him. Running toward the pier. Gun drawn but forgotten. Please. 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 The figure turned. Not Lily. A girl. Maybe 8 years old. Terrified. Duct tape over her mouth. Hands bound. And pinned to her chest, a photograph. Dominic reached her. Gently removed the tape. Cut the ropes with his knife. Are you hurt? He asked. She shook her head. Crying. Shaking. What's your name? Sarah, she managed. Okay, Sarah. You're safe now. I promise. Marcus was already calling it in. Ambulance. Police. Child services. Noah picked up the photograph that had fallen. His face went white. Dominic, he said quietly. Dominic took the photo. It was Lily. Asleep in her bed. Taken yesterday based on the pajamas she'd been wearing. And written on the back in neat handwriting. She sleeps like an angel. It would be a shame if she never woke up. Below that, an address. Connecticut. Lily's safe house location. The location only 3 people knew. Dominic. Marcus. And his head of household security. Call Robert, Dominic said. Now. Marcus dialed. Put it on speaker. It rang. And rang. And rang. Then voicemail. Robert doesn't miss calls, Marcus said. Dominic was already running back to the car. They left Sarah with the approaching sirens. Left Elena to explain everything to the police. Because Dominic knew with absolute certainty what they'd find when they reached Connecticut. Another body. Another betrayal. And a little girl who was supposed to be safe, now in the hands of someone who knew exactly how to make Dominic bleed. The drive to Connecticut was 90 minutes. Dominic made it in 50. The safe house sat on 12 acres in rural Connecticut. No lights. No movement. No sign of life. Dominic was out of the car before it fully stopped. Wait, Marcus said. Let me clear it first. No. Dominic kicked in the front door. Gun raised. Every instinct screaming that he was too late. The living room was untouched. Kitchen clean. Everything exactly as it should be. Except for the silence. Lily. Dominic shouted. Lily, it's Daddy. Nothing. He took the stairs 3 at a time. Her bedroom door was open. The bed was empty. Sheets pulled back like she'd gotten up for water. Her stuffed rabbit still on the pillow. And on the floor, Robert. His head of security. 56 years old. Former Navy SEAL. A man Dominic had trusted with his daughter's life. Dead. Single gunshot to the head. Professional. Clean. Dominic stood there staring at the body. At the empty bed. At the life he'd built crashing down around him. Noah appeared in the doorway. Saw Robert. Saw Dominic's face. How long ago? Noah asked quietly. 2 hours. Maybe 3. Body still warm. Marcus was searching the other rooms. Came back shaking his head. She's gone. No signs of struggle beyond Robert. Whoever took her knew exactly what they were doing. Dominic walked to Lily's bed. Picked up the stuffed rabbit. It still smelled like her shampoo. Like the lavender soap she insisted on using. His hands were shaking. Dominic, Marcus said gently. We need to move. If they took her, they'll be expecting us to fall apart. To make mistakes. I am falling apart. Then put yourself back together. For her. Dominic closed his eyes. Forced himself to breathe. To think like the man who'd built an empire instead of the father who was watching it burn. They knew Robert's schedule, he said. They knew where she slept. They knew exactly when to hit. Inside job, Noah said. Has to be. But who? Robert's been with me for 12 years. James is dead. Elena was in Boston. What about the staff? Marcus asked. 3 people. Cook. Housekeeper. Driver. All vetted. All clean. Nothing's clean if you dig deep enough. Dominic's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Did you find my present? The distorted voice asked. Where is she? Safe. For now. Confused. Scared. Asking for her daddy. It's really quite heartbreaking. Dominic's vision blurred red. If you hurt her. You'll what? Hunt me down. Kill me. Dominic, you don't even know who I am. You've spent 23 years building walls to protect yourself, and you never realized you were just building a prison. What do you want? I already told you. Brooklyn Navy Yard. Pier 7. Tomorrow night. Midnight. Come alone. And you'll give her back. We'll discuss terms. Terms? She's 6 years old. She's leverage. She's the only thing in this world you care about more than your empire. So yes, we'll discuss terms for her release. Noah was frantically writing something. Held it up. Keep him talking. Marcus is tracing. Let me talk to her, Dominic said. Let me know she's okay. Silence. Then, faintly, Daddy. Dominic's knees almost buckled. Lily. Baby, it's me. Are you hurt? I'm scared. There's a man. He says, her voice cut off. That's enough, the voice said. Tomorrow night. Alone. If I see Marcus, if I see anyone else, she dies. If you call the police, she dies. If you try to trace this call. The line went dead. Marcus looked up from his equipment. Got it. Signal bounced through 6 towers, but the base location is Brooklyn. Industrial area near the Navy Yard. They're already there, Noah said. They have been this whole time. This whole thing, Boston, the girl at the harbor, even Robert, it was all to keep you moving. To keep you reactive instead of thinking ahead. Dominic stared at him. What are you saying? I'm saying whoever this is, they know how you think. They know you'll sacrifice anything for Lily. They've been playing you since the moment James Cortland died. Then what do I do? Noah picked up the stuffed rabbit. Turned it over in his hands. You said 3 people knew about this location. You, Marcus, and Robert. Yes. Robert's dead. You and Marcus are here. So how did they know? Marcus's eyes went wide. Unless they've been watching longer than we thought. Dominic pulled out his phone. Opened the security app for the safe house. Every room had cameras. Motion sensors. 24-hour recording. He scrolled back. 3 hours. 4. There. The feed flickered. Just for a second. So brief you'd miss it if you weren't looking. They hacked the system, Dominic said. They've been watching her for days. Maybe weeks. Which means they know everything, Noah said. Your routines. Your security. Your plans. Which means I can't go to Brooklyn tomorrow night. You have to. If you don't, they'll kill her. Dominic looked at Noah. At Marcus. At Robert's body cooling on the floor. No, he said quietly. If I show up alone, they'll kill both of us. They never planned to return her. This was always about making me watch her die before they killed me too. Then what's the play? Marcus asked. Dominic walked to the window. Looked out at the dark Connecticut woods. At the empire he'd built on secrets and blood and fear. An empire that had failed to protect the one person who mattered. We don't play their game, he said finally. We change the rules. They drove back to Manhattan in silence. Dominic sat in the back seat. Holding Lily's rabbit. Planning. By the time they reached the penthouse, he knew what had to be done. Gather everyone, he told Marcus. Everyone I trust. Everyone who's still breathing. That's a short list. I know. 2 hours later, his conference room held 6 people. Marcus. Noah. 3 captains who'd served under Dominic for over a decade. Men who'd proven their loyalty with scars instead of words. And one more. Elena had driven down from Boston. You shouldn't be here, Dominic told her. She's my niece, Elena said. I didn't even know she existed, but she's family. So I'm here. Dominic nodded. Turned to the others. 24 hours ago, someone took my daughter. They've spent weeks planning this. Compromising my security. Killing my people. Building a trap designed to end with both of us dead. He pulled up a map on the screen. Brooklyn Navy Yard. Pier 7 circled in red. They want me here tomorrow at midnight. Alone. They think I'm desperate enough to walk into an ambush. Aren't you? One of the captains asked. Yes. But desperation doesn't mean stupid. Dominic clicked to a new image. Satellite view of the Navy Yard. Multiple buildings. Shipping containers. Warehouses. They've been watching my patterns for weeks. They know I scout locations. That I never go anywhere without backup plans. So they'll expect me to have men positioned around the pier. So we don't position men there, Marcus said. Exactly. We position them here. Dominic pointed to a warehouse 3 blocks away. And here. And here. Close enough to respond. Far enough to avoid their scanners. Noah leaned forward. They'll have counter-surveillance. They've been too careful not to. Which is why you're not going to be in the buildings. Then where? Dominic smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. You're going to be in the water. The room went quiet. The Navy Yard has underground tunnels, Dominic explained. Maintenance access from the old days. Some of them are flooded. Some aren't. But they all connect to the pier systems. Marcus pulled up building schematics. These haven't been used in 30 years. Which means they won't be watching them. One of the captains frowned. You want us to infiltrate through flooded tunnels in the dark. I want you in position before they even start watching. They'll be scanning the area starting around 8 p.m. You'll go in at noon. 12 hours to get into position. 12 hours to wait. And if they spot us? They won't. Because they'll be too busy watching me walk into their trap exactly like they expect. Elena spoke up. You're still going alone. I have to. If they see backup, they'll kill Lily immediately. But if they think they've won, if they think I'm Brock. Midnight approached like a funeral march. Dominic stood alone on Pier 7. Hands empty. Gun left in the car 3 blocks away. The Brooklyn Navy Yard stretched around him. Abandoned buildings. Rusted cranes. Shadows that could hide anything. Somewhere beneath his feet, Marcus and his team waited in the flooded tunnels. Noah with them. Ready to move the moment Dominic gave the signal. A signal he'd give by saying one word. Lily's middle name. Rose. The wind off the water cut through his jacket. Dominic didn't move. He stood exactly where they'd told him to stand. Playing the broken father perfectly. Because that's what Dimitri expected. A car appeared. Black SUV. Headlights blinding. It stopped 30 feet away. The doors opened. 4 men got out. Armed. Professional. Faces hidden behind masks. And then Dimitri. He looked different from the photograph. Older. Harder. But the eyes were the same. Cold. Patient. Filled with 10 years of carefully nurtured hate. Dominic Vale, he said. Voice no longer distorted. Russian accent thick. Do you know how long I've waited for this moment? Where's my daughter? Patience. First, I want you to understand something. 10 years ago, you walked into a warehouse in Red Hook. You killed my father. You didn't ask questions. You didn't offer mercy. You just executed him like he was nothing. He was trafficking children. He was building an empire. He was creating something that would have lasted generations. Dimitri's voice rose. And you destroyed it. You destroyed him. You destroyed everything. He deserved worse than what he got. Dimitri smiled. So do you. He gestured. One of the masked men opened the SUV's back door. Lily stumbled out. She looked so small. So fragile. Duct tape over her mouth. Hands bound. Her eyes wide with terror. Then she saw Dominic. Even through the fear, even through the tape, he saw her recognition. Saw hope flare in her eyes. Dominic's hands clenched at his sides. Every instinct screaming to run to her. To put himself between her and these men. But he stayed still. Let her go, he said quietly. This is between us. No. This is about her watching you die. About her growing up knowing that her monster father couldn't save her. That all his power meant nothing. She's 6 years old. I was 19 when you made me watch my father bleed out on concrete. Age doesn't make grief hurt less. Dimitri walked closer, circling Dominic like a predator. I spent years planning this. Getting hired. Learning your systems. Finding your weaknesses. And then I discovered her. Your secret. Your humanity. The one thing you loved more than power. He stopped directly in front of Dominic. James Cortland was easy to buy. Robert took more convincing. But everyone has a price. You taught me that. Robert's daughter, Dominic said, understanding finally clicking. You threatened his daughter. Smart. Yes. Kill you and protect Lily, or protect his own child. He chose blood. Most people do. Lily was crying now. Soft sounds behind the tape. Dominic looked at her. Really looked at her. Tried to communicate without words what he needed her to understand. I love you. I'm sorry. Be brave just a little longer. Any last words? Dimitri asked. Dominic turned back to him. Just one question. Yes. Do you really think I came alone? Dimitri's smile didn't waver. I think you're bluffing. I think you're desperate and broken and hoping I'm stupid enough to. The explosion cut him off. The charge detonated under the pier. Not enough to collapse it. Just enough to crack the ancient wood. To open the maintenance hatches Marcus and his team had positioned themselves under. They came up shooting. Dimitri's men scattered. Return fire lighting up the darkness. Bullets sparking off metal. Ricocheting off concrete. Dominic was already moving. He hit the ground. Rolled. Came up with a gun he'd taped under the pier 3 hours earlier during the reconnaissance. He knew Dimitri would be watching. 2 shots. 2 of Dimitri's men down. Marcus emerged from the tunnels. Water streaming off tactical gear. His team behind him. They moved like a machine. Precise. Lethal. Years of training condensed into seconds of violence. Noah went straight for Lily. He reached her before anyone could react. Cut her bonds. Pulled the tape gently from her mouth. I've got you, he said. Close your eyes. She buried her face in his shoulder. Noah ran. Keeping low. Using shipping containers for cover. Heading for the extraction point. Dimitri saw them. Raised his weapon. Dominic put 2 bullets in the ground at his feet. No. Dimitri turned. The hatred in his eyes burned hotter than any fire. You think you've won? I think my daughter's safe. That's all that matters. She'll never be safe. Not while I'm breathing. Then stop breathing. Dominic pulled the trigger. Click. Empty. Dimitri smiled. Raised his own gun. Poetic. Your father died with an empty gun too. My father died trusting the wrong person, Dominic said. I don't have that problem. Elena stepped out from behind a container. Gun raised. Hand steady. Hello, Dimitri, she said. She fired once. The bullet took Dimitri in the shoulder. Spun him around. His gun clattered across the pier. Elena walked forward. Kicked the weapon into the water. That's for my niece. Dimitri clutched his shoulder. Blood seeping between his fingers. You're making a mistake. I have people. Contingencies. This doesn't end here. Actually, Marcus said, appearing behind him. It does. He held up a phone. On the screen, live feeds from 6 different locations. Dimitri's safe houses. His backup teams. All of them surrounded by police. Funny thing about spending 10 years infiltrating someone's organization, Marcus continued. You leave a trail. And once we knew who you really were, finding everyone you'd corrupted took about 4 hours. Dimitri's face went pale. That's impossible. You made one mistake, Dominic said. You assumed I'd be alone because I was desperate. But desperation doesn't mean stupid. It means I had nothing left to lose. And a man with nothing to lose is the most dangerous thing in the world. Sirens wailed in the distance. Getting closer. Federal prosecutors are very interested in talking to you, Elena added. Kidnapping. Murder. Conspiracy. Trafficking. Your father's old business records are quite damning. You can't. I already did. You wanted revenge. You got it. But revenge has a price. And you're about to spend the rest of your life paying it. Police cars flooded the Navy Yard. Lights. Voices. Organized chaos. Dominic walked past Dimitri without looking back. He found Noah and Lily by the extraction car. She was wrapped in a blanket. Still crying. But safe. When she saw Dominic, she reached for him. He picked her up. Held her like he'd never let go. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry, baby. You came, she said into his shoulder. I knew you'd come. Always. No matter what. Always. Marcus appeared. Dimitri's in custody. His people are talking. The prosecutors are going to have enough to bury him for 3 lifetimes. Good. What about us? The evidence Elena turned over connects to your operations too. Dominic looked at his sister. She stood apart from the police. Watching him. Face unreadable. I made a deal, she said quietly. Immunity for Dimitri's network. In exchange, you cooperate with an investigation. Limited scope. Enough to look legitimate without destroying everything. You negotiated for me. You're my brother. And she's my niece. Family protects family. Dominic nodded slowly. Understanding passing between them. The kind that only came from shared blood and shared loss. Thank you, he said. Elena smiled. Don't thank me yet. You're going to hate the terms. But you'll be alive to hate them. So will Lily. Noah approached. The police want statements. Later, Dominic said. Right now, I'm taking my daughter home. Which home? Good question. The penthouse was compromised. The safe house was a crime scene. Everything he'd built to protect Lily had failed. Somewhere new, Dominic decided. Somewhere nobody knows about. I know a place, Elena offered. Outside the city. Quiet. Safe. You can stay as long as you need. Dominic looked at her. Really looked at her. Seeing his little sister instead of the prosecutor's wife. Seeing family instead of distance. I'd like that, he said. They left the Navy Yard behind. Left Dimitri and his revenge and 10 years of careful planning in ruins. Left the empire that had almost cost Dominic everything. Because empires could be rebuilt. Daughters couldn't. 3 months later. Dominic sat on a porch in upstate New York. Morning sun warming his face. Coffee growing cold in his hand. Lily played in the yard. Chasing butterflies. Laughing. The fear slowly fading from her eyes. Some nights she still woke up crying. Still asked if the bad man was coming back. Dominic always told her the same thing. No. He's gone. You're safe. I promise. Some nights he even believed it. Noah appeared in the doorway. Marcus called. The last of Dimitri's network was sentenced yesterday. 25 years. And Dimitri? Life. No parole. Maximum security. He'll die in prison. Dominic nodded. Took a sip of cold coffee. Good. Elena sent the final immunity terms. You need to testify in 2 cases. Provide documentation on 3 others. After that, you're clear. What about the business? What's left of it is running without you. Your captains are handling day-to-day. You're officially retired. Retired. The word felt strange. Dominic had spent 23 years building an empire. Being feared. Being powerful. Being the monster everyone expected. Now he was just a father on a porch. Watching his daughter play. Do you regret it? Noah asked. Which part? Any of it. All of it. The things you did to get here. Dominic thought about James Cortland. About Robert. About the men he'd killed over the years. The choices he'd made. I regret that Lily had to be part of it, he said finally. I regret that she'll grow up knowing what her father was. What I did. But the things I did to protect her? No. I don't regret those. Even if they made you a monster. Dominic smiled faintly. You told me once that monsters don't regret things. Maybe that means I'm not one after all. Or maybe it means monsters are just people who love something enough to become one. Lily ran up to the porch. Out of breath. Smiling. Daddy, look. She opened her hands. A butterfly sat on her palm. Wings slowly opening and closing. It's beautiful, Dominic said. Like Mama? His breath caught. She asked about her mother sometimes. About the woman who died bringing her into the world. Yes, he managed. Just like Mama. The butterfly flew away. Lily watched it go. Then turned to Dominic. Are we going to stay here? For a while. Is that okay? Can I go to school? Eventually. When it's safe. When will it be safe? Dominic pulled her onto his lap. Held her close. Soon, baby. I promise. She rested her head against his chest. I like it here. It's quiet. Not like the city. Me too. Noah's phone buzzed. He checked it. His expression shifted. Dominic. You need to see this. He held out the phone. A news article. Federal prosecutors announcing the dismantling of a major criminal organization. 57 arrests. $200 million seized. The biggest operation in New York history. And at the bottom, a quote from the lead prosecutor. Thomas Reeves. Elena's husband. This sends a message that no one is above the law. Not even those who've hidden in plain sight for decades. He's making his career on this, Noah said. Good for him. Dominic, he's coming for you next. Elena can only protect you so far. I know. And? Dominic looked at Lily. At her small hands gripping his shirt. At the trust in her eyes. And nothing. I made my choice. I chose her. Whatever comes next, I'll deal with it. But I won't go back to being what I was. Even if it means prison. Even then. Because she'll know I chose her. She'll know that when it mattered, her father became the man he should have been all along. Noah studied him for a long moment. You really mean that? Yes. Then I'll help however I can. Why? You don't owe me anything. Maybe not. But you gave me a choice too. Between being a waiter who saw something he shouldn't have, and being someone who actually mattered. I chose to matter. So yeah, I'm staying. Dominic extended his hand. Thank you. Noah shook it. Don't thank me yet. If Elena's husband is coming for you, this isn't over. It's never over. Not really. But for today, right now, I have my daughter. I have my sister speaking to me again. I have a chance to be something other than what I was. He looked out at the yard. At the peaceful morning. At the life he'd never thought he'd have. They called me a monster, he said quietly. Maybe I was. Maybe I still am. But monsters can change. They can choose something different. And what are you choosing? Dominic watched Lily climb down and run back to her butterflies. Her. Every time. No matter what it costs me. Even if it costs everything. Especially then. Noah nodded. Went back inside. Dominic sat alone with his cold coffee and his thoughts. Somewhere in New York, prosecutors were building cases. Former associates were talking. The empire he built was collapsing. He didn't care. Because Lily was laughing. The sun was shining. And for the first time in 23 years, Dominic Vale wasn't planning his next move. He was just being a father. And if that made him weak in the eyes of the world that had feared him, so be it. Some things were worth being weak for. Some things were worth losing everything to protect. His phone rang. Elena. He answered. Hey. Thomas knows you're at my place. He's asking questions. I figured he would. Dominic, I can stall him. But eventually, you're going to have to answer for what you've done. I know. Silence. Then Elena said quietly, was it worth it? Everything you did? Was it worth ending up here? Dominic looked at Lily. At the butterfly landing on her hand again. At her delighted smile. Yes, he said. Every single piece of it. Then I'll keep stalling. Because you're right. She's worth protecting. Elena hung up. Dominic set the phone down. The world was coming for him. The law. The consequences. The price of 23 years of violence. Let it come. He'd face it. But today, right now, he was just a father on a porch. Watching his daughter chase butterflies. Being human instead of monstrous. And discovering that maybe, just maybe, that was enough. Lily ran back to him one more time. Daddy? Yes, baby. I love you. 3 words. Simple. Perfect. Everything. I love you too, he said. More than anything in this world. She hugged him tight. Then ran back to her butterflies. Dominic closed his eyes. Let the sun warm his face. Let the moment be enough. Because in the end, they'd called him a monster. But monsters didn't cry when their daughters said I love you. Monsters didn't sacrifice empires for butterfly-chasing mornings. Monsters didn't choose redemption over power. And Dominic had chosen. Would choose again. Every single time. Honest question. If you were protecting your child in a world that only respects fear, what would you become? Monster or father? Leave your comments. This story isn't about crime. It's about the line everyone pretends they wouldn't cross. If you felt conflicted watching this, you're going to need part 2. Subscribe so you don't miss it.